Well, hello there. It's the 10th of November 2019, and here you are with Dan in Essex, UK. So one could say the winter is here, or the late autumn. Had a frost yesterday, had some frost on the windscreens of the car that could clearly be seen. So yes, colder temperatures are indeed here. But I want to keep going with my gardening efforts because I want to have a good head start into next year. And I also think it's nice, isn't it, to keep gardening when you can, even when weather conditions are a little bit less favourable. In many ways, if you get success, it can make it more satisfying. So there we go. So I'm going to be sowing 4 varieties here, if you will, and I'll show you what they indeed are. Now, many of you who have viewed me for a while will be aware of these, but for those of you who are new to the channel, what I'm going to do is just bring it a little bit closer so you can indeed see. Right, there you go. Komatsuna Japanese Green. If you're interested in learning a bit more, you can pause the screen and have a look about it. Feast Spring or Salad Onion. Oscar Very Dwarf Early Pea. And Manchester Table Carrot. So how am I going to be growing these? Well, I'll tip the camera down so you can have a look. So you can see here there are 2 polystyrene containers. Now, one can quite often get hold of these when people give them away, and one good thing is it's very good, to recycle as well, isn't it? And the polystyrene helps to warm up the growing medium inside, which can make germination much easier, particularly at this time of year. You want to be at about 10 degrees C, no less than that really, when you're germinating seeds. I mean, the temperature will fall below that, but in ideal circumstances, that's where you want to keep it at. I think that's about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, but please check that one up yourself. So certainly, yes, growing within polystyrene containers does have an insulation factor, which, is a very, very good idea, particularly at this time of year. So you can see the growing mediums in the polystyrene containers. So you may remember in that big container at the back there is the compost I used that was in the grow bags. I grew some tomatoes and some other things in during the summer, and I've kept the compost and just put it in that big tub there, for uses such as these. And also mixed in with this, in these, is some basic multi-purpose compost. So I used the grow bag compost because it's a bit more dense and hopefully got a bit more nutrients in, even though it did have some things growing in it, than the multi-purpose compost. But the multi-purpose compost is great for germination, and of course multi-purpose compost is generally cheaper than sort of like more enriched compost. So there we go. But of course, making your own compost is the ideal way to go, but I haven't got any ready at the moment because it's still a relatively new project here. And also when you're germinating, using multi-purpose compost can be good because it hasn't got other seeds in it that can germinate, and you can get confused with what you're growing. So I'll show you the way in which I'm going to be doing this. So I've got some water here, and I'm simply just going to put a bit of water in like that. Now, one thing you can do, I've spoke about this before, is you could maybe, using a kettle or something, put a bit of warm water in there, not scalding obviously. Put some warm water in, dilute it with some cold water, and a little bit of that sort of tepid water will help to warm up the temperature of your growing medium, which really is a great thing to do, particularly at this time of year. So I'm just going to get my seeds. So we're going to start with the Feast Spring or Salad Onion. So I'll show you how I'm going to do this. It's going to be very straightforward, and I'm going to have them in the lower tub. So I'm simply just going to get my stick like this, and what I'm going to do is just get my seeds and just gently scatter them along like this. Now I'm expecting these to germinate very well. I germinated some Kyoto Market spring onions in a pot behind me and they germinated well, so I see no reason why these indeed won't. I'm sowing them pretty thin because I can always remove some and retransplant them somewhere else, so not a problem. And here as well, I'm going to have another row of them there, just like this. Spring onions are such a great thing to grow, they're so tasty as well. They don't take up much space, and a real nice thing to look forward to. That's my opinion anyway, in the spring, hence their name. So look at that, and plenty more of those seeds to come. There, and I'm just going to proceed to cover them up like so. I may even get another little bit of multi-purpose compost and just put it over the top. In fact, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So also in there I'm going to have Manchester table carrot. Now this will be interesting because this is not the typical time of year, certainly, for sowing carrots, and one reason I'm putting them in with the spring onions is my understanding is onions can help keep the carrot fly away, because they don't like the smell of it, although carrot fly actually allegedly jumps, so growing them up on a little bit of a raised sort of in a raised container like this is a very good way of growing them as well. So we're just going to sow all of those like this, and once again, when these grow out, I'll remove some of them, maybe transplant them. Another reason that I'm sowing quite a few at this time of year is because germination may be a little bit less likely due to the colder temperatures, but now by sowing a lot of them, I'm hopefully increasing my chances of having a good germination rate of carrots. So what I'm going to do is, so I've got my Manchester table carrot there, and I've got my Feast spring onions there. Another one there. And another one there. So got them done now. Next up is going to be the Komatsuna Japanese green. So once again, same approach, making my little drills just like this. I mean, you could do this with spinach if you wanted. You could do it with spinach, you could do it with chard. Could try it with any brassica really. Kale. Just in like that, look. Down, down, down. So I think you can understand my approach. And this Komatsuna looks really good. You can sow this at any time of year. And it's one of the, it's not necessarily that well known. So I think it's good to try new things really. And the next I'm going to be sowing is the very dwarf early peas. And the way I'm going to sow those is simply about 2 inches apart, push them in. Now these won't be big plants, okay, so I'm going to sow them quite close together. And if you're going to sow peas at this time of year, you want to sow ones that don't create too big a plant, and one that will hopefully mature early. Hence, this is an early pea. And what I can do here if I want to is I can put some little sticks up and let them grow up the peas, let them grow up the sticks rather. So these are going to be in just like this. And of course it's good that I'm doing this because other people can see what works and what doesn't. They're going to look really cool. So it's very important, once again, put your sticks in so you know what you're growing. I think it's nice to know what you're growing anyway, because if you don't, if you don't know what you're growing, you can sometimes forget, which I often do. So I've just got to got 2 more sticks here, so I'm going to be writing on these and then I'll know what they are. Okay, so there we go. So I've got my seeds in, and what I'm going to do, just for an extra bit of added insulation, if you will, I'm just going to put the tops of these windowsill propagators over the top, just to allow a little bit more warmth to, be in the growing medium. Another option that you can do is get like maybe a piece of Perspex, put that over, a bit of clear plastic, or indeed I have, got a bag a container like this, and then put a clear plastic bag around it so that the sun can still get through. But this should hopefully help to increase the temperature within the growing medium and thus increase the chance of germination. But it may be a bit slow, a bit on the drag, but that's that doesn't matter because this is an exciting project to do, in my opinion. So ideally, if you've got a polytunnel greenhouse, put it in there, something like that, absolutely brilliant. But if you haven't, maybe a south-facing aspect of your garden or your allotment would be great. In a conservatory would be absolutely brilliant. But if you haven't got that, if you haven't got the ideal situations that I've described, put them where you can. Don't have to let it stop you. You can always give things a go, and if things aren't ideal, don't let it get you down with regards to gardening. So any comments, questions or whatevers, please feel free to post the comments and questions and blah-de-blahs down below, and I will see you next time, and please feel free to like, share and subscribe if you indeed wish to. See you later.